Hello everybody, post-stream me here. I've finally got round to condensing this entire live stream down. Oh boy, it took me quite a while. But as you'll see very shortly, we got there in the end. Now if your hot take isn't included in this condensed version of the live stream, fear not, it's not that your take was bad, but I have to condense this down as much as I possibly can. At the end of the day, I had to go through 2.5 hours worth of footage. If you want to see my answer to your hot take, the full VOD is on the channel, assuming yours isn't in here of course. I am recording this before I've even edited it, so... But I did answer each and every single one of your comments, guys. So again, full live stream is on the channel. And before this video begins, I just want to say a massive thank you to each and every single one of you who contributed to that live stream. Whether it was you putting a comment on the post or interacting with me in chat, it was all awesome. I had the time of my life, and I cannot thank you guys enough. Anyway, sopping this aside, enjoy this condensed version of the live stream of me reading your hot takes. So starting with Isaac Lopez Real 6335. Very first one I got. Their first take is Sonic Unleashed has the best controls for the boost gameplay out there. Generations isn't as good as many people say. Okay, where do I begin with this? Unleashed is my favourite, I will say. I prefer how Unleashed plays. That being said, I do prefer the way Unleashed handles, even if Generations does handle better. Because Generations, the way I see it, is it's a more refined version of what Unleashed did. It's the middle of the day for you, is it, Swifty? Yeah, it's like approaching 8 PM here in the UK. So, yeah, Generations... I prefer Unleashed. Generations, though, I think it's deserving of the praise it gets. Yeah, your people have to go to bed. I just got out. Yeah, time zones are funny, aren't they? Yeah, it's 8 PM over here, so probably by the time we're done, it's probably going to be about 10, maybe 11 o'clock. It all depends on how long it takes us to get through these. Second take by Isaac Lopez. Sonic X isn't that good, but for Sonic standards it is. I'm assuming you mean because Sonic X kind of came out during a time where Sonic's reputation was kind of, I wouldn't say hanging by a thread at that point, but it wasn't in a good place. So I get what you mean. Because at the time I think expectations were probably lower. Whereas now expectations not so much so. And then final take from Isaac Lopez is Labyrinth is the best stage in Sonic 1. I've not played Sonic 1 in a hot minute, like a very, very, very long time. And I do actually think I remember kind of liking Labyrinth, I'm not quite sure. Is that Stargaze the Pi 2414? I hope I'm saying that right. Sonic Chronicles is one of the best handheld Sonic games. Ah, okay. If I'm correct in saying that's the one BioWare made, isn't it? And I don't recall it ever being that great. I know people started to like it now and stuff. Also, Colors DS is the definitive way to play the game. I don't think you believe that. But thank you anyway. Thank you anyway. Right, KTE 3493 says, Sonic Forces wasn't bad. I'm going to keep this brief because I know I've already covered this. I'm going to keep this very brief. Sonic Forces as a game wasn't terrible. It was just, in my honest opinion, mind-numbingly boring. And I think that's where I'm like, I would rather play a bad Sonic game and laugh at it than I would play Forces. Like, on an objective, fundamental scale, Sonic Forces isn't a bad game. But, yeah, it's just, to me, it's nothing outrageously special. It's just Sonic Forces. It exists. Oh, we got a big one here, boys. We got a big one here. 3 of them in one as well. Okay. Lego AWC Stop Motioner 9435 has 3 takes here. So your first take is, I'm tired of people acting like everything wrong with Sonic X is the dub and that the sub is near perfection. Don't get me wrong, the sub does seem to be better overall, but the biggest issue with the show is too much focus on the humans, and that's just a fundamental problem with the show. The dub didn't create that problem. I'm not going to act like the dub didn't make a bunch of stupid changes, but I feel like the show is very rough no matter which version you watch. Now you see, I watched it dubbed, and that's only down to personal preference, because I'm not a big fan of watching subbed things, because I have to, and this is going to sound so lazy, I have to read the subtitles. And it's like, if I just miss like one word, that's enough for me to be like completely thrown off, and I have to like rewatch scenes like 3-4 times just to make sure I've understood everything. However, that being said, and I'll use this as an example, I think most people have a problem with, when it comes to dubbed, they have a problem with the voice acting more than anything. Now, I don't think the voice acting in Sonic X is terrible. It's also not great, but I'll use this as an example, like Squid Game. There's no way in hell I can watch that dubbed. I've seen 2 scenes with the English dub. Oh, it's like nails on a chalkboard. It's horrible. So I understand where people come from when they say they don't like the dubbed. I don't think anyone's calling it near perfection, because a lot of people, from what I've seen, they say Sonic X is a very flawed show, and that it has a lot of filler, which it does. It has a lot of filler, and Chris Thorndike's in it. So, I mean, that in itself has, yeah, if you want to criticize Sonic X, just say, Chris Thorndike exists.
Oh, get fucked.
Their second take says, while I would like something more akin to the adventure games, the modern models aren't that bad, with the exception of Sonic Enforcers and Frontiers. Yeah, I'm of the notion I prefer the longer quills. I am not starting that debate, by the way. I know literal, like, global conflicts have been fought over Sonic's quill length. Like, you just take one look at Reddit, and everybody's at each other's throats all the time. His quills should be short, his quills should be long, and I'm just sat in the back, eating a bunch of popcorn. I prefer the longer quills. I think proportionally they look better. But I think they probably will be taking a very slow step to giving him longer quills again, because I'm not being funny. I've got mods in Frontiers that changes his model because Sonic looks bald. He looks bald. His quills are that short. Right, we've got Samir Johnson next. He's got 2 hot takes. One of them is very long. I'll leave a TLDR. Sorry. So Samir Johnson says, Samir Johnson 4524. I'm tripping over my words. How the hell is this happening? 1, I like reused levels when done right. And he goes on to explain, I actually like the idea of bringing back old levels. I just wish it was done to show how connected Sonic's world is, and not for cheap fan service. Plus, they need to be more creative. They need to be more creative with their level picks, like Spring Yard over Green Hill. I suppose they could do it like Adventure 2, where it's secret unlockable bonus. That could work. Samuel Johnson, you're spot on there. I completely agree. I think I've noticed they've had the tendency to reuse Green Hill so much. I understand it's iconic. I get that. But my God, like something else. Please, anything. Yeah, Green Hill's like too much. Okay, this is gonna start a bloodbath. If any of the hot takes I've received prior are anything to go by. Sonic Adventure 2 is kind of overhated now. I think it's overhated there. I said it last time. I went over why I found the first adventure game to be a tad bit overrated. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Right. Let's dissect this. Is Sonic Adventure 2 kind of overhated now? I don't think so. I think it is slowly getting to that point. And listen, hear me out. Just like with a lot of other Sonic games, it's becoming very trendy to hate on the popular games. 5 years ago, nobody was saying this. Nobody. But just because one person was saying, Sonic Adventure 2 sucks. Sonic Adventure 2 is terrible. Sonic Adventure 2 is overrated. Sonic Adventure 2 is trash. Where it's like, all of a sudden it's now become very popular to do so, and I think unfortunately it's a very common trend in the Sonic community for people to hate the popular games. It's like, even like literally you have the Sonic Adventure 1 fans and Sonic Adventure 2 fans fighting in the octagon all the time. Like, this WrestleMania season worthy level stuff here. Like, these two sets of fans seem to always be at each other's throats. And I've found it's also becoming... Sorry, I'm going on a massive tangent. I'm finding it's becoming more common to like one, but not the other. Guys, you can like both. Like, you can like both. And you can have your preferences. I do think it's becoming a lot more common, but I don't know if it's overhated yet. But I have noticed a large vocal group of people coming out and talking about how Sonic Adventure 2 is a bad game, or how it's overrated. I think give it 6 months and we'll probably be there. For watching the whole fiasco of Popcorn Hand. It is funny. It is funny. It is front row seat entertainment. I have to say, you know, it's like they say, nobody hates this franchise more than Sonic fans. This bit I do disagree with. As for the treasure hunting, I really do think the criticism behind the radar is massively overblown. Samir John, I'll be honest, Samir, I don't agree. If there's one thing I hate, and I absolutely hate in Adventure 2, it's the Knuckles and Rouge stages. I actually don't mind the mech stages. I don't love them. I don't mind them. But yeah, the treasure hunting's not for me. Oh god, they're so tedious. But yeah, I mean, I get what you mean, obviously. Even Omochao is super helpful. I've just noticed as well that you said. I'm not going to say what I'm going to say. That's probably TOS. Anyway, see if there's anything else in here I want to point out. I get the general gist of what you're saying, though. Everybody likes speed stages, yeah. I mean, I don't think anyone doesn't like it. The Chow Garden's cool, yeah. The music's good in it, yeah. Yeah, I mean, fair play, fair point. Pumpkin Hill was only good for its music. I do like Pumpkin Hill's music. I will say. Right. Next one. D-Smith 3279. Sorry in advance for the essay, but this needs to be said. Oh, Christ, this is like Lord of the Rings. I love it, though. Right. Oh, God, no. Oh, no. Oh, this hurts me to my core. Okay. I'm going to try and paraphrase this because this is a really long comment. People love acting like the 2000s, the adventure era, was objectively better than the 2010s, the colours era. Usually because of the stories, the experimentation, or vague stuff like potential and aura. They are literally all the things I defended the 2000s on. Okay. The 2000s and 2010s are basically opposites in how they failed. Both were heavily criticised for not feeling like Sonic, just in completely different ways. Okay, let me digest this, because you do raise a good point in a way there. Okay, right, so I am a big defender of the 2000s. I am. And if you see my 2000s video, now sitting at 7,000 views, just want to plug that right there. So, my problem with the 2010s for Sonic was that it did feel like there wasn't enough experimentation. But at the same time, with the 2000s, I think the reason why Sonic's reputation was in the mud is because the franchise suffered an identity crisis and couldn't seem to make up its mind of what it wanted to be. But there's just something about that I love, and I don't know why. It's like no one game was ever the same, whereas we know the next mainline Sonic game is going to play quite similarly to Sonic Frontiers. I think even Sega came out and actually said that is the direction that we're going in. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. As well, that's another thing I want to point out, because I did actually read this comment off stream because I wanted to see how much of an essay it truly was. And the fact that it was about the 2000s, it got my attention pretty quickly. Yeah, the 2000s tried to make Sonic darker. Again, I like that. Albeit it was a bit tongue-in-cheek with it at times. Shadow 05, very tongue-in-cheek. Yeah, like, again, the 2010s played it too safe. Both eras had quality control issues. The 2000s were worse about it in your opinion, but the 2010s weren't flawless. Yeah, and I think a big reason as to why, and I'll use it as an example, Sonic 06, which I don't defend, by the way. Sonic 06 literally was like completely like developmentally handicapped from the start because they split the development team in half. And it wasn't the first time during that period where they'd make some very questionable decisions behind the scenes that, yeah, unfortunately contributed to the franchise's downfall. But I just love the 2000s, man. I love the 2000s. You do finish off by saying that both eras just basically had their own problems. And you're right, they did. No one era of Sonic is ever going to be perfect. Like, I think there's even people out there trashing on current Sonic. I get it. I understand it. Both eras are different. Both eras have their own flaws. Like, yeah, that I agree on. But I will die on that hill and say I love the 2000s of Sonic. I don't care. Maybe it's because that's the era I grew up in. Maybe they're the games that I'm most familiar with. I don't know. I'm sticking to it. Okay? I'm sticking to it. Alright, we've got Hates Bren in with the Sonic Boom designs for the main cast are actually good. Yes, even Knuckles. And are just as good as the classic and modern redesigns. I think people look past the designs due to the poor reception Sonic Boom received at the time. Yes and no. Let me break this down. So, the Boom games horrifically received. Somebody asked me what did more damage to Sonic's reputation. Was it 06 or was it the Boom games? In my opinion, it's 100% Sonic 06. And I'll explain why. Because Sonic Boom came out during a time where Sonic's reputation was already in the mud. Like, there wasn't really that much more damage that you could do to the franchise that hadn't already been done. Whereas 06 almost killed the franchise. Like, this is well documented. It almost killed the franchise. Now, why I say yes and no. The TV show, on the other hand, Sonic Boom, from the general gist of what I've got from it, it was actually quite well liked. I don't necessarily think the reputation has anything to do with it. I think people just generally don't like the designs, and I'll explain why. Because Sonic's about as tall as the Master Chief. Knuckles, it just proportionally to me looks weird. I think the only character design in Boom that you could generally look at and say isn't too bad is probably Tails, because they barely changed him. At least from memory. They barely changed him. So, I don't think the problems really stem from the reputation Boom and the reception that Boom received, because it was only really the games getting criticised, and a lot of the criticism of Sonic Boom, the games, weren't about the designs, really. Yeah, the designs caught some strays as well. But a lot of the criticisms of Sonic Boom were just to do with the fact that they were just really unpolished, from what I've gathered and what I've seen. Orange Slices says, Sonic is actually consistent due to how consistently inconsistent his games are. Oh my god. Do you know what? Chat. I think Orange Slices might be cooking. Oh, it's Sus Ramirez. Oh, this is gonna get good. Yep, here we go. So Sus Ramirez says, every attempt Sega has made to make the Sonic canon fit together better, Tales Tube, Twitter takeovers, Celtic's case files, IDW, is a complete waste of time, and there is no meaningful Sonic canon. Also, IDW is worse than all other Sonic media I've ever seen. Oh, he's out for blood. Sus Ramirez is out for blood. Okay, no meaningful Sonic canon. Where do we draw the line on that? I understand technically the comics and the games and the movies, they've all got their own canon and their own confines and their own universes, so to speak. But at the same time, I think you might need some familiarity between the media, maybe. I don't know if that's just me. Seuss is on IDW. W Seuss. Log24T says, after how they got redeemed in IDW, Zavok is a top 5 Sonic villain, and Dead Elite 6 are some of the greatest Sonic villains ever. Now, guys, chat, I am replaying through Sonic Lost World as we speak. I know we're talking about IDW here, but no, I'm sorry, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Zavok and stuff. I'm just not. Crown Cub says, Chris is an okay character.
Oh, get fucked.
Oh my god, we've got 2 people glazing. Chris Thorndike. Okay. Alright. Okay. Nah, I'm digging into this. Right. Okay, we're gonna mix these together. So Bacon Hair also says, we'll go back to his first one in a second. Even Chris Thorndike. Oh no, actually we'll mix the 2 together because it's actually a one take. My bad. So Bacon Hair follows it up with, Silver the Hedgehog is glazed and doesn't deserve his own games. I'll tell you why I agree. Even Chris Thorndike is better. He ain't that bad. Come on, no. Silver's better than Chris Thorndike. Chris Thorndike, I swear they made Chris Thorndike to be intentionally annoying. He was just so stupid at times. Like, he'd put himself in situations and you think, yeah, I know you're a kid, but you can't be that dumb. Anyway. Chris Thorndike, I don't like him. However, Silver the Hedgehog is glazed and doesn't deserve his own games. Now, I disagree with both sides of this. Glazed, hard to really tell considering Silver, unless it's like in the comics, hasn't really had a prominent presence in the games since Sonic 06, really. He's only starting to really get some more love now. Doesn't deserve his own games. I wholeheartedly agree. And I'll tell you why. Because there's not enough content there in the games to warrant his own game. People are talking about, we need a silver generations. Well, what have you got to work with? Like, you haven't got a lot. Shadow got his own Generations game because there's enough content there. Sonic obviously got his own Generations game because there's enough content there. Silver right now, until we start seeing him become a more prominent appearance in the games, I can't see it. Can't see it happening yet. Chris plays before the big GTA 6. Then we've got Blade the Hedgehog YT, quite a regular viewer to the channel. One, Sonic Adventure is a horrible Sonic game, and the OST is also bad. Oh, brother. Oh god. I understand why people might not like Sonic Adventure. You are playing with fire. Oh no. 2, Sonic Forces is better than all adventure games. Oh, Blade, with all due respect, you cannot seriously. I know opinions are a thing, but surely that's got to be rage bait, and it's worked. Surely that's got to be rage bait. And 3rd, Shadow Generations OST is the best OST in the entire series. Now, I understand why people might have that opinion, because I do like Shadow Gen's soundtrack a lot. But obviously, as expected, a lot of the songs in it are slight variations of obviously what we've already got. The soundtrack is good though, I do like it. I wouldn't say it's my favourite, but it's good. Lucky7, you're up next. Oh boy, let's have a look here. So your first one is Sonic Movie 1 is okay, but not a good Sonic movie. Not only has the whole talking animal seeks refuge from danger and then going on a road trip thing been done to hell and back. Second time with James Marsden, by the way. Yeah, I've seen the memes. But I feel there was a little more lore that could have been established here, like how Sonic was born on Mobius and all that. And I think the pacing was kind of off. Overall, it's a fun watch, but if you're looking for a genuine Sonic movie, just watch the OVA. Right. I agree with quite a bit of what you're saying here, but I do have a bit of a counter argument to it. So Sonic movie, the first Sonic movie, I enjoyed it. It's not the best, and I will be reviewing these movies at some point in the future, and then I'll go into more detail in those videos at some point. I'm going to try and review them before the 4th movie comes out, so it's going to be some point this year. not only Talking Animal seeks refuge from danger and the other one on road trip's been done before. Yes, it has. It's a very bare bones basic plot line. It's been done before. It has been done to death. You're right. However, my counter argument to this is this, whether we want to admit it or not, these movies are made for the general public. They're made to make money. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing is entirely up to you. Because a lot of people complain there's law inaccuracies, which there is. They've changed certain things, like, the fact that YouTube do not take me down. That Maria doesn't catch a bullet didn't happen. But she's in it. So they've changed certain things, I think, to make it more accessible. And obviously, there are certain things that the older Sonic games you probably wouldn't get away with including in the modern, in the sort of how things are now. And they have changed a lot of things. But again, I think it's for ease of access more than anything. I don't, like, a lot of what we see and what we're familiar with, it's more references and callbacks for Sonic fans to appreciate. But I think the general gist of the movies is that they're as accessible as possible for families to get involved in. Because we have to remember, there's plenty of people who are getting into the Sonic franchise through the movies. And that's kind of what they're made for. Like, yeah, they're made for Sonic fans, but they're more made as movies for the general public than they are movies made with Sonic fans completely in mind. Because I think if you made the movies like purely for Sonic fans, I think you'd lose a lot of people. People won't be like, what is going on? Like, because we all know, maybe not so much now, there was a point where Sonic's lore was incredibly convoluted. And I also agree, by the way, if you're wanting to watch a genuine Sonic movie, just watch the OVA. The OVA ain't perfect, but I prefer the OVA over the 3 movies. I do. I think that feels more like a Sonic movie. Right, number 2, your second one. Secret Rings is by far the most overhated game in the series. People in and out of the fanbase dunk on it simply because of the awkward motion controls, and to that I say, get good. If you play the game enough to get used to them, choose your ring upgrades wisely. The controls become way more tolerable. Other than that, the story is pretty nice. The OST isn't really all that memorable, with some standouts being It Has Come to This, No Way Through, Let the Speed Mend, and White of Sky. The level environments have really nice variety. Eraser Jin is a great villain, and it's, in my opinion, just an awesome experience overall. I've not played Secret Rings since it came out. And bear in mind, I was a kid, and I did not have fun with it because of the awkward motion controls. I know it's the whole get good thing and stuff, and maybe there is enjoyment to be had, but I think if you want your game to do well, you've got to make it as accessible as possible from the start. And obviously, with it being a game primarily made for kids, I don't know about now, but certainly back when I was younger, I didn't have the patience to get good. It was either I liked it or I didn't, and there was no in between. So I barely played it. Like, I might go back and revisit it for emulation or something, or whatever. Or if I get my hands on a Nintendo Wii again, I might play it again. I don't know. One of the two things, I'm gonna probably go back and revisit it. I don't see why not. Dino Gungle. Blue Rat fights Genie from Aladdin. Right, and then your third one, One Way Dream, is one of the best songs in the entire franchise, and it's not even close. The whole song is just Sega saying, we're back up and we're not going down anytime soon, and this song gets the point across amazingly, while still sounding absolutely stellar. Hell, this is one of the only 2 songs ever to make me cry on a first listen. The other being Live Life. Every minute segment of this masterpiece is beautifully crafted to the point where I just can't help belting it out whenever it comes up on my playlist. Nate's vocals and Tomoe-san's instrumental combined together in the best ways to create this breathtakingly extravagant delicacy. They just cooked so damn hard. The song was a perfect way to let the fans, the world, know that Sonic is back. A dream to life. Do you know what? I think you can say a lot about, like, similar things about a lot of Sonic songs. If there's one thing that I find is very difficult with Sonic soundtracks, it is genuinely difficult, at least in my opinion it is. It's genuinely difficult to pick one, like, song that just stands out. Like, I think everybody will have a favourite song that's different from each other's, because Sonic soundtracks, bar 1 or 2 releases, maybe more, have great soundtracks. I think you will have a case for pretty much all Sonic soundtracks, really. Sonic Skater, you're next. Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed is the best racing game of all time. Not just in the Sonic series, but I mean ever. Now, can I level you? Can I level with you? 9 times out of 10, racing games like Sonic Racing and Mario Kart, I'm probably going to get sued for saying that, and Crash Team Racing, they're not my go-to. They're not my go-to racing games. I very much play racing games like Gran Turismo. I'll play... There's one out there called R Factor 2. I'll play Assetto Corsa, which is highly moddable, by the way. Highly moddable. So, like, Sonic Racing Crossworlds is, like, the only one that I've genuinely sunk a good portion of time into. Because... And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I don't like getting bombarded, and I don't like the fact that... I like there to be rules, and you break the rules, you get a penalty, right? I like clean racing, and I know the whole point of these racing games is that it's not clean racing, and that you throw a bunch of stuff at people. I get that, and that's fine, but I'm very traditional when it comes to racing, and yeah, that's just what I like. That's what I like. But it is a fair opinion, yeah. Just like X-Man says, it is a fair opinion. Mr. Autism 1 says, please use mine first, I beg of thee. I'm sorry, Mr. Autism, I had to do it in order. 1. Sonic is not a kid's... I think if you mean kids game. Sonic is not a kid's game if you really think about it. Depends on how you look at it. Like, how are we looking at this? Because the general themes and everything, yeah, I would say it's a kid's game technically. Well, family friendly. But the games aren't afraid to explore dark themes and storylines. We've seen it before. I mean, when you really dig into Frontiers' story, yeah, okay, it's not the darkest, but they do delve into some pretty heavy topics. Like on the surface, oh yeah, it's all colourful and vibrant, and it looks like a kid's game, but it does deal with some themes that you're just like, oof, that was heavy. And I think that is what they're going to be doing going forward. 2. Sonic and Mario Olympic game titles are mid. I've only played the 2008 one. I've not played any of the others. All I know is that Nintendo got a little bit uppity about having Sonic ahead of Mario. I did enjoy the game, though. I did enjoy the game. Lord Hagra 91 says, Cubot and Orbot are quite possibly the worst characters ever introduced to the series. I'm not the biggest fan of them, I'll be honest with you. I'm not. Their dynamic is funny sometimes. It can be. But then at other times, I do find them really irritating. And I think I find them more irritating more often than I do entertaining. I think Sonic, how they are in like colours and stuff, is a fine example of that. They just pissed me off in colours. I don't know why. They just did. 2. Classic Sonic should never have been brought back. Right. I have an opinion about this. For generations, it made sense, but my God, did they go for a period where they milked the ever-living hell out of Classic Sonic? Like, one of the selling points of Forces was, oh, Classic Sonic's back. Don't really make sense why he's in the game, but he's in the game. So, yeah, buy the game, please. I'm like... And then, literally, in the same year, they released Sonic Mania. Although Sonic Mania is actually really, really good. But the point is that they were on this, like, massive, like, hype train of classic Sonic. Not that I dislike classic... I like classic Sonic. But, it just felt... Classic Sonic sometimes has been put in things since generations just because. Like, that's how it feels to me. Every game released after Sonic and the Black Knight should be declared non-canon and ignored in future installments. They have been incredibly damaging from a story perspective, characters not liking themselves, the Chow being descended from aliens among other things. The series would be immeasurably better off without them. I don't know, because... Nah, for me, I don't... Declared non-canon, but then how do you go about continuing certain storylines into other games and making sure that the games are still very much aware of past experiences and stuff like that. Because if you all of a sudden made the games non-canon, any references in future games to, I don't know, for example, Sonic Unleashed would kind of be like made redundant. And everybody loves a good callback. Everybody loves a good callback. As long as they're not done in a way where it's like painfully obvious that they're only doing it just to say, hi, we remember this game. I don't know. Right. The Baseballs. I said your name wrong earlier. I apologise. You say, I don't like it when people say, but the soundtrack is good to defend bad Sonic games. I'll do you one better. On top of that, you know what else you can throw in there? And this is me in agreement. What you can throw in there is you could throw in when people also say, but the game had potential. I see that all the time. Listen, right, just to go back to your original point. A Sonic game can have a great soundtrack, but the game itself can still be bad. Do you know? And the same can be said for any game. Any game, any bit of media can have a great soundtrack, but be terrible. It can. We've seen it before with like plenty of things. It's like, okay, this is completely left field. I'm a Star Wars fan. I hate the sequel trilogy with everything in me. But there is no denying that the soundtrack done, like created by John Williams, is still phenomenal. I don't like the movies, but I love the soundtrack. So, yeah, you know, you can say, oh, well, the soundtrack's great, but, you know, actually, this was wrong with it, and that was wrong with it. And listen, I know opinions like you know what. I get that. But a great soundtrack doesn't save stuff. So, I agree. Oh, it's X-Man, it's yours next. Sonic and the Secret Rings is a top 5 OST. It's an absolute banger. I know people hate Seven Rings in Hand due to it being overplayed, which is fair. But the Rumblebee carries the OST, gets more somber and real as you go on. It's awesome soundtrack, highly underrated in my opinion. Attack me all you want, but Secret Rings OST is better than Sonic Adventure 2. X-Man, I like the soundtrack in Secret Rings. Yeah, okay, like some of the songs in it are repetitive. I get that. But it's like my problem with Secret Rings has never been the setting, it's never been the soundtrack, it's always been just mainly the gameplay. Like even the story, I don't think the story in Secret Rings is all that bad. It's just the gameplay really. But the soundtracks, yeah, great. I don't know if it's in my top 5. And I don't know if I'd put it over SA. No, who am I wouldn't put it over SA2. But I do like the Secret Ring soundtrack. It is a very good soundtrack. I do agree. Vampire A1056 says Sonic Adventure is the most overrated Sonic game. I suppose you can have a case for that. Like, by the way, guys, calling something overrated doesn't mean it's bad. Like, you can say a game is like very good, but you say it's a bit overrated. You can have a case for that, and as well, you can have a case for Sonic Adventure 2. Yeah, I think it all depends on which ones you like and which ones you don't. I like Sonic Adventure 1 a lot, but I can understand why people might think so. Hot take number 2 by Vampire. Sonic Superstars is better than Sonic 1 and CD. Oh my god. Okay, hear me out. You might have a case for 1. CD, I'm not sure about. I don't agree with that, though. I prefer Sonic 1 over Superstars. But a lot of people don't hold Sonic 1 to a high regard anymore. So, is that really too uncommon to say? I'm not quite sure. And then he finishes it off with Shadow the Hedgehog is actually a great game. I'm done. Don't talk to me, I'm angry. I'm joking, you can have that opinion. I don't like Shadow the Hedgehog. Obviously, that's a well-established thing. Right, and then we've got Hypersonic, another regular to the channel. I think that Sonic 1 and CD are better games compared to Sonic 2. Again, kind of like what we've just kind of touched on. Sonic 1 is not really held to that high regard, so that is kind of a hot take, to be honest. I don't really see that many people defending Sonic 1 anywhere near as much of games like Sonic 2 and Sonic CD and stuff. Is CD better than Sonic 2? I've yet to form my final opinion of that, so I can't tell you if it is or not. But I do like CD a lot. I do. CD's good. Parzival Bow says, Shadow should have stayed dead. Okay, hear me out. Listen, the only reason why it was retconned into Shadow surviving is because he was that popular. Otherwise, he would have stayed dead. So, I mean, look, at the end of Sonic Adventure 2, I think he had the perfect send-off. I would not have been mad if that was his one and only mainline appearance. At the same time, however, I'm glad we still have Shadow. I am. I'm glad we still have him. But I do think if they were to give him a send-off, his send-off at the end of Sonic Adventure 2 is probably the best way to do it. Oh, here we go. You guys are going to love this one. You guys are going to love this. 2. SA2 is mid! If only 1/3 of the gameplay is actually fun and the remaining 2/3 is a slog at best, that's not a good game. Listen. I adore Sonic Adventure 2, and you guys are going to hate me. It is like my second favourite. However, I can point out the flaws. I agree. The mech stages ain't great, and the treasure hunting stages, I'd rather wipe my behind with sandpaper. But I think the speed stages do enough for me to get my enjoyment out of it. And I do like the story of Adventure 2 as well. Honestly, I do. Is it Gamil or Jamil? I can't remember. Is the most underutilized character currently active in the series, and he needs a major game appearance more than Silver does. Honestly, I think Silver. If
and even it's been a weird.
If I remember to go get one, Silver will get it first. Why? Because it's Silver. Like, that's why. Hopefully not too late, but only 3. My hot take: Sonic Generations is mid. How dare you? No, I'm joking. You can have that opinion. But yeah, Blue Shoes is saying this, by the way. The 2010s did more to ruin Sonic's reputation than the 2000s did. Again, as I've kind of already established now, I don't agree with that. I think Sonic's reputation was already in a very, very bad place in the 2010s, whereas in the 2000s it was only just sort of on a narrow decline. And then Sega decided to take the franchise and nosedive off a cliff, explosions and everything, like one of them dramatic car crash scenes in like a show, with the release of Sonic 06. Just saying. I think the 2000s did more to ruin it. It's just the 2010s kind of helped fast track it a little bit further, in my opinion. But then we got to the 2020s, so. And then third, Sonic Heroes is only difficult for people who are bad at video games. Not a Sonic channel. Is this your burner account? Is this your burner account? It's got to... No, I know it's not. But that very much sounds like... I'm pretty sure he's, like, not word for word, but he said, like, something similar before. I wouldn't say Sonic Heroes is only difficult for people who are bad at video games. I do personally think it's not necessarily bad at video games. I find Heroes is easy to learn but very difficult to master because of the swapping mechanic and stuff and the various ways you can speedrun stages and stuff like that. It does have a skill ceiling, but I do think it's relatively easy to pick up. Until I started playing Heroes again, I'd not touched the game for almost 20 years, and I picked it up easily. And I was able to pick it up and play it again. But to say I'm as good as I used to be at the game, no, I'm not. I'm nowhere near as good as I used to be at the game because it's been a very long time. Oh, we got Barry here again. I normally really like Jim Carrey in the Sonic movies. I really do. But for multiple reasons, I really don't like the scene in Sonic 3 where Robotnik and Gerald are fighting on the Ark. I think the bug thing is so lame. The nanotech these guys have are capable of seemingly whatever they want, and they use it to act like bugs. How fun. 2, the choreograph is just really slow and awkward. It's like watching 2 men fighting at the elderly home. Hey, don't diss fights in elderly homes. That's front row seat entertainment right there. 3, I'm normally not one to throw this word around, especially around Sonic, but the dialogue is just super cringy to me. The more times I watch the movie, the more I shrink into my seat a little when Robotnik randomly jokes about Green Lantern from 2011. Or when he literally gets spanked by Gerald. I don't know, the jokes feel more focused than usual, and as well, the fence thing as well. I did find the fence thing amusing though. Can you blame me for being significantly more interested in the fight between golden hedgehogs than 2 old men acting like bugs? Live and Learn is blaring in the coolest scene ever, in the coolest scene you've ever seen, only to be cut off so we can see the aforementioned spanking. Now, I'm not saying... Guys, if you're just joining for context, we're talking about a fight scene here. Now, I'm not saying that Jim Carrey is bad in any of these movies or that he's ever been bad in Sonic 3. Outside of this small handful of scenes, I think Robotnik and Gerald are great. They bounce off each other so well, and they're constantly making me burst out laughing every time I see them. Heck, even the scene where Robotnik says goodbye is a great send-off, and it generally gets me in the feels every time. It's just when Robotnik, we'll call him Ivo, obviously, because they're technically both Robotnik. It's just when Ivo and Gerald are fighting when the whole thing falls apart for me. Right, Let's dissect this. So, the bug thing didn't bother me. It's whatever. I mean, I get what you mean. Obviously, they have access to all the things they can have in the world. I mean, literally, I've set up a fence because his nanotech misheard him. So that's just proof that he can summon whatever they want. Or that they can summon whatever they want. Yeah, it's a bit... I get your point. Like, they could have easily, like, I don't know, made a hammer or something. But I think it's just... I think the fight scene's meant to be cheesy. That's the whole point. Going to the choreography... It's like watching two men fighting in an elderly home. Again, don't diss that. The choreography, really slow and awkward. I think it's kind of the point. I mean, these two aren't exactly known for stepping in a boxing ring. Again, I think it's to add to the humor of it. I think, you know, and as well, like, let's be honest, Jim Carrey is getting on a bit now. Could you argue, yeah, they could have got stunt doubles in, kind of, and then CGI'd and superimposed his face on him? Maybe. They could have done something like that, but I think it's kind of the point. The dialogue, I'll be honest with you, one of my main problems with the Sonic movies is that sometimes the dialogue does feel out of place, whether it's the jokes or it's the overabundance of pop culture references. It does feel a little bit out of place. Again, I know why they're doing it, because these movies are meant to be for the general public, and you can blame the MCU for this. Everybody loves pop culture references and these witty one-liners, and I think that's just kind of what they were going for. Yeah, it's like you say about Green Lantern from 2011. Was there any need for it to be in there? Probably not. Were they going to include something like that anyway? Yeah. And yeah, this bit I completely agree with. You go from this amazing fight scene to the whole live and learn scene, and then it just cuts to Gerald spanking Ivo, and I'm just like, what? Why? No, I want live and learn back. Give. I came here to see two hedgehogs fighting. I did not come here for that. So I get it. I understand it. If your take didn't make this video, your take will definitely be in the full VOD. Just check the live section of the channel and you can go watch it there. Let me know what you guys thought, by the way. This is the first ever time I've condensed a live stream. And oh boy, it took a while. Honestly, I cannot stress enough, thank you so much for all of your input. Because without your input, this video wouldn't have been possible. Hell, the live stream wouldn't have been possible. I know people are going to ask, is there going to be another edition of Hot Takes in the future? And the answer is yes. When that's going to be, whether it's going to be a video or a live, I'll have to let you guys know in due course. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your continued support. And until next time, guys, adios.